show blew up in my face. Woke up on the floor, couldn't take no more, my darkest day. But I can't lose sleep on what I cannot change. I chased the lightning, I got soaked in the rain. Danced with my demons till I couldn't see straight. Try to twist me, but I still won't break. I don't mind. I'll find a way.
Welcome in to the bridge with Phil Wallace and Kelly Vance. Kelly, you looking good today?
Changed a little bit, Kelly.
Man, it's been a while since we've had him on. Welcome in, bro.
Happy to you.
Kelly, of course, out in Uganda, still working with her school and the community out in Uganda that she is so invested in. Kelly, we love you, miss you. Hope you that's great. It looks like from what she's posted on some social media, it's a great trip. But
great things for Sunbeams Uganda.
Yeah,
love what everything she's doing out there. It's amazing.
Great, creating jobs, creating schools, just amazing. Just unbelievable what her and her team are doing. She won't take credit for it, but Kelly, we love you. If you're catching this, it's in the evening over there, but join us, whatever it is. So today, Olympic participation. There are the Olympics are coming up right around the corner, right? And in July, right? So just a few weeks away. And there's a lot of we know there's a lot of regulations with drug use, performance enhancing chemicals. Is that a good way to put it?
Making sure that everyone stays within regulations, not using anything they shouldn't.
Right.
Trying to give themselves an advantage. None of that's going on.
Right. And you found an interesting piece of information.
Yeah, this one was sent to me because of the conversation that we had when Sha'Carri Richards got in trouble or suspended from being able to run because she used a substance that was legal where she lived.
Yeah, so let's take them back. What was it, 4 years ago? Right now, right, or 2 years? 4 years ago, whatever. However they do it now, right?
That's about right.
And she was world-class sprinter, African American, one of the best in the world. And for her anxiety, there was THC in her bloodstream or whatever, right?
And at the same time, like her mom had passed, so
so a lot was going on. She used it to calm her nerves. Not she wasn't partying. It was here we go. Right.
It was legal in her state. Did what she did. Got tested for it. Was landslide faster than a lot of the competition.
Yes.
Right. And so it was a big uproar that, it was suspended. Meanwhile, other gold medalists are posting pictures online just with
swimmers.
Which no judgment, but we got to find some consistency there.
Correct.
And then it was the debate was at that time, well, it's not right for her to do so. She's got something that she's, supposed to be focused on.
Yeah.
As a professional athlete, you have to prioritize.
Yeah.
If you know that it's not okay, then morally, and that was a big thing also, morally just shouldn't be okay, even if it was allowed in the state, which I find very hypocritical seeing the amount of people that go to dispensaries now.
Right.
But somehow morally she was wrong for having marijuana in her system after her mom died.
Yeah.
So it got sent to me that a gentleman named Van de Velde, sorry if I
so before we go too much deeper, let's there is an Olympic committee,
okay,
right? That has strict rules, regulations, clauses, very I'm going to say attorney-driven terminology to even or level the playing field across all nations in the world. Right. So we want to lay that out there, and there are clauses in there as well for everything.
Right. Certain behavior that would be frowned upon if that participant did anything that didn't morally align with the sentiment of the Olympics, right?
There is a morality clause.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was sent to me that Van Velde, he's 29 years old, was admitted to raping a 12-year-old girl from the United Kingdom in 2014. He was sentenced in 2016 to 4 years in prison, but was released after only 1 year. Surprise, surprise there. After he was released, he resumed his career and has since qualified for the Paris 2024 Olympics.
Yes. We don't know which country. Is he in England? Is he from the UK? I don't know.
Right.
Anyway.
Dutch athlete. So
very, very European looking cat.
Yeah. It says a Dutch athlete was convicted.
So Dutch, maybe. Right. So, yeah. So he's from Dutch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It could be Norway or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway. Holland. They're Dutch, right? Maybe Holland.
Of the Netherlands.
Netherlands. There we go. We get it there. I'm never good at math. Anyway.
Right. Science escapes me. But anyway.
Right. So this gentleman, prime athlete, world class athlete because he qualifies for the Olympics. Not just a rape, which is gross and horrible by itself, but of a minor.
Right. 12-year-old.
Now, I know of somebody who was convicted here in America, not an Olympic athlete, convicted of touching, not raping, touching a minor, 20 years. 20 years in prison. Boom. Right? And, so that is basically a life sentence for this dude because of his age.
Right.
20 years. And that's with good behavior. Right?
Right.
And this guy gets 4 and serves 1 because he's an athlete. Yeah? Am I understanding this right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay. I don't know the laws of the Netherlands, but
I would
go ahead.
And there's people who my gut wants to say are sick enough, but I don't want to put that opinion. There's people who are saying, well, the regulations and guidelines in different countries are different than the States. And that's true. But this is a 12-year-old kid. And I think in most parts of the world, you understand, hey, child rape is not okay.
Right.
Right. And we've had this conversation, and I've said, when different topics arise, but it's kind of the same sentiment, I was like, watch how critical, if the story's not sealed tight, this person is picked apart. But if the person looks like this, what we're actually lenient about. Watch what we make excuses. Watch what we justify. So remind you, if I have a counterfeit $20 bill, I deserve to be choked out and killed. If I rape a child, it's okay because the laws over there are a little bit different. So he should be allowed to participate in the Olympics. Or that was a long time ago. He served his time. There's so many people who serve their time. If I said, well, Michael Vick served his time, let him dog sit for you. That would be a horrible thing to say in the suburbs. But they will say that this person is allowed to, yeah, it's true. They will say this person is allowed to participate in the Olympics after served time. But in the video, the girl said, you have to understand, there are children. There are minors who are going to be in the Olympic Village. So where all the Olympic athletes kind of hang out, spend their time in between where they're participating in as far as their events or competing in as far as their events. And you have to walk past a person who is convicted of child rape.
Yeah, a lot of the gymnasts,
right?
Yep, are 18 or under, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're tiny and can whip around those bars and rings and things that they do.
Right.
And by the way, very few chaperones.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
In the Olympic Village, which, from stories that I've heard in the Olympic Village, can get a little bit party-ish.
Right.
At times.
Right. And you have... So nobody on the committee thinks that this is wrong. Nobody on the committee. Not one person.
Right. Now, this is a convicted, as we would say in America, a convicted felon,
Right.
of a gross thing. Right. And again, just a touch was 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is a complete rape.
Yep.
Understand?
And served 1 year.
1 year. Your daughter is a world-class athlete, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, I'll be there to support you, honey. You aren't allowed in the Olympic Village. You are not.
The parent is not allowed
right.
to watch over your child.
Yeah.
Who you know is in the village with a convicted. Like, I would not, let's say Elijah made it big in music, but Michael's staying there. No. You'll be nowhere near Mr. Jackson. You will stay in the hotel. You as daughter, would you let, it's just Robert Kelly would be in attendance?
Negative.
No. No. And I have to be honest of why that's a no. I can't be like, well, you know, Robert served his time. Man. He's a changed man. No, he is not. No. I just don't understand. Like,
he's laughing.
He is.
I mean, this is a typical 80s villain. Right?
Because, like, okay.
I did a year.
Sha'Carri didn't enhance her skill set, her performance, right? It's not like she's going to be giving out dime bags at the Olympic Village. Correct. So no one else is in harm of what she's doing. If there was more of a potential harm, then Mr. Phelps would have been a long time ago because he had more marijuana that was known about than Sha'Carri at that time. This person is a present danger to underage people.
Well, not just underage people. To
anyone.
Anyone.
Right. Because.
Right?
Right. And then I guess.
I mean, now let's take the whole child out of it.
Right.
There's alcohol. There's partying. We know this. We've read the stories about the Olympic Village and how they get together, and it gets kind of crazy. And you're a track star. You're 25.
Right.
And there is this rapist there.
Because even in 2014, let's take away 10 years. So he was 19. That person was 12.
Yeah.
So you're saying he's 29, they're 22, whatever.
Right. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's sickening and maddening and gross, the crime that he committed, but it don't matter, right? You can't change the stripes on a zebra.
Right.
Right. And this is like, hey, we're going to Old Country Buffet. Right.
And you've been here through all of the shows. Even Brittany Griner, right? And they talked about her with the vape pen.
Yeah.
That, let's face it, if you have a teammate who smokes, you know which teammate smokes, you know which players smoke on your team. You're not dumb.
Right.
Right. So years into her career, you knew.
Yeah.
Well, the laws and regulation, well, morally it's wrong. If she did the crime, she should do the whole sentence. And they were looking at 15 years or 10 years, something like that, for a vape pen.
Yeah.
This dude raped a kid and got 1 year. I guess when I see stuff like this, right is right, wrong is wrong.
Yeah.
That's first and foremost before that gets to be the debate. Right is right, wrong is wrong. This is wrong. Cool. But two, when you tell a group of people it's not because of the color of your skin, show me where else.
Yeah.
Brock Turner, when they said that Brock Turner served a fraction of his sentence, which still wasn't a lot, for 5 cases of sexual assault on 3 different women.
Yeah.
How?
Right.
If your buddy did it, or just touch, not rape, 20. 5 cases, 3 different people, and you're serving a fraction of this time. An underage child in a year.
Yeah.
You understand, like, a lot of the people who were convicted 90s, early 2000s before weed was legalized, are doing more than a year for a less heinous type of crime.
Well, and just to set the stage as well, the United States is the only country in America, or the only country in the world. The United States,
Only in America.
Anyway, is the only country in the world that does not pay their Olympic athletes. Okay, every other country, you're on payroll because you
Full time.
You're going to represent our country, and we're going to pay you because we want you to train, and so we're going to pay you, right?
Right.
So the Netherlands said, "Hey, Jimmy, we need you on our payroll. We'll get you out of. I'm sorry, you served a year of good behavior. We'll say time served." Right.
Mm-hmm.
And now the country, this felon, as we would say in America, I don't know what they call him in the Netherlands. This felon is on the payroll of the country. Now, when we take a look at that, my thought is, does ESPN or the commentators, ABC, whatever? Well, this is Jeremy. Jeremy, of course, is running in the 4x100. Best known for raping 12-year-old. You know what I mean?
They're not going to do that to him,
They're not
though.
going to do it, right? It's going to go under. However, we know Michael Phelps had a little bit of issue with a bong and a lot of weed, but he's back. It's not in his system.
Right.
Okay, you can get drugs out of your system. That type of behavior, I don't think.
Where you think that that's okay, like nah, that doesn't just. Even with that though, like we've seen that like in if you ever watch March Madness, like man, Deontay Jones is having such a great game today, 28 points, 13 rebounds. You would never think that he was convicted at 12 years old for rob.
Correct.
What? Why is that necessary to bring up for him?
Right.
However, no one's going to say, man, gold medalist Van Velde, you would never know that he once raped a 12. It's not going to be said.
No.
Because we don't want to drag that person's name into the mud like we do for other people's. And that's why we've said for years now, just watch where they do it.
Yeah.
And then watch where they don't.
Yeah.
It's not a one-off.
Yeah, make it make sense. Is as they say, the math isn't mathing.
As the kids say.
It's not that I don't condone it. You know what I mean? That's not what this is about. Is, if you're going to build a bridge, the bridge has got to fit every car that can go across it. Mm-hmm. You can't pick and choose which cars will go across your bridge. And that's what we're doing, right? So to make it make sense, how do you make it make sense? And is it because we're, again, I'm going to go, is it because we're in America and we know our laws and regulations or whatever? Again, I don't know what happens in the Netherlands, but it shouldn't. I mean, there are countries where that man is dead. There are countries where that man is dead. Right? Public, right?
Well, technically in the Netherlands, I'm looking at it now, they're actually just voted on a new bill to actually make anybody who's charged with rape more serious, because I guess it's been a outdated law. So they just voted on it. So it goes into effect July 1st.
Oh, after the Olympics.
2024.
Yeah.
Hey, don't you worry about this. We're going to do this after. After you get these medals.
We're going to get through this, but it's will go into effect. We'll take a vote, but then it kind of goes into effect January 1 or whatever. They always push it off, right? So obviously it's a bad issue then. If the Netherlands are like, hey, maybe we've got a problem. What?
You think?
I've never been to the Netherlands.
And I'm sure they're wonderful people.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I don't know.
Other than this, I really don't hear bad about the Netherlands.
Right.
So I'm not saying that this is how y'all move as a unit.
Yeah.
However, this particular individual.
Well, yeah, they're just as a human being,
right?
Just as a, we're not, we're not on a remote island where we are uneducated and we are right. I mean, we're just not. We're there's news. You
Right.
have the internet. There are
Right.
in the Netherlands, right?
You said desert island. I didn't know if you was going Epstein or where you were going.
Well,
Okay.
I'm just saying, as a person, as a parent on that committee for the
Right.
Netherlands, you have to scratch your head and go, I get that he's fast. But we don't have somebody who's within a tenth of a second of him.
Right. Just
Nobody.
nobody.
I'm willing to take a silver medal on this.
Look, and keep the dignity, bro. Like,
Right.
The character.
Right. But this isn't just the only. I mean, all too often we see this, right?
Yep.
Where athletes get special favors.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not even say athletes. Let's just say public figures.
Right.
Is that a good way to put it? Because
Yeah.
we can't just pin it on athletes.
Yeah.
Because there are movie stars. There are politicians, and there's a lot of public. You're in the public eye,
Yep.
and hey, we'll look the other way.
We call them politicians, but
Yeah, right. Well, hey, we'll look the other way.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got to go to court. You pooped on his bed,
Wow.
right? But we,
It's frowned upon.
right? It's frowned upon. But this is the world stage. This man, they had an issue because she was fast. She was representing the country, and right, and we're like, well, we understand anxiety, we understand depression, and we understand that you don't. It's not enhancing anything. It's probably slowing you down, if anything.
Right, because you're in the munchies.
Right. But the idea is, and I want people to understand too that in the Olympics there is a clause. There is right before people say, "Oh, well, you can't test for that." No, there is that clause in to be on the Olympic team. Is that? And how do we look around this?
But even, I hate that I remember this stuff. There's also that part about Sha'Carri Richardson where they're like, how like ratchet she was because of her hair, her nails, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, do we want that representing our country? We can consider the alternative. That could be representing our country. The rape.
Right.
So what's so wrong over here?
Right.
What's the holdup? What's the problem?
How do you fix it though? Well, I mean, what's the bridge?
And that's where I don't understand, because if Kyrie has to sit out because he shared a tweet, nobody was penetrated from shared tweet.
Nope.
He had to give up money.
Yep.
Sign this, meet with committees, get help before he was allowed back in. They cut his sentence. He never came out of pocket, and he's right back to business as usual.
Yeah.
And so, like, hypothetically, offline, let's say if Pierre's like, bro, you do that show, man, like, show me the difference if it's not race. What do I tell him?
Yeah.
Well, Nike leaves Kyrie. This dude gets a medal?
Hopefully not, right? It is. I don't know. I don't know what event he's in, but he is an Olympic athlete. The hard part is where do you draw that line, right? Now we don't have a case where there's a black person in the Netherlands, African Netherlands. I don't know.
Are there?
African Dutch? I don't know.
I was wondering that.
Right?
I don't know if we're the indigenous there.
It's awfully snowy up there.
Right. To tell a family secret, my grandmother was a Dutch.
Right. And I didn't have enough time to see if there was on another shoe, right, or on the other foot, any other you know, we're you know, there have been ladies from Africa
Right.
that couldn't be in the Olympics because their
Testosterone levels are too high.
too high. Remember that? We talked about
for
that
women
4 years ago.
For women, just high testosterone level. But you're a woman,
Right?
You didn't.
No drugs.
Not
No,
knocking. But you didn't transition anything.
Nothing.
No drugs.
You are
no
drugs. This is just how your body produces testosterone.
Yeah.
Nope, can't do it.
Too high.
Too high. Would be an unfair advantage.
Unfair advantage.
Wow.
Now, I've seen articles that are probably made up about Brittany Griner. She can't because her testosterone levels are too high. And I'm like, well, I try to snope that and see what's, if it's real. I haven't found anything. Right. So I'm like, this is just bait to irritate people. And that bridge we've got to blow that stuff up too and quit trying to build that hate. Right. I'm going. Let's bring it to America. So you have this gentleman who's a rapist. We're going to leave it there. Convicted, did time, rapist. Going to be around a lot of healthy, beautiful women of all ages, right? Even minors, and he raped a minor. We'll leave it there, right? I mean, once you have a taste for steak, you like steak, right?
Never mind this lettuce,
right? Okay, but we go to the WNBA right now, which I absolutely love the WNBA, and ever since their meeting 2 years ago or last year, I guess in 2023, everybody's been trying to pit Angel Reese against Caitlin Clark. Now these two have been teammates. They don't hate each other. They like each other. But the media is trying to play good guy and bad guy. Yep. Now I tell people, listen, this reminds me of 1980.
Ooh, magic.
This reminds me of 1980 when a kid from French Lick and a kid from Lansing, Michigan came into the NBA because the NBA was going downhill at that time.
Yeah.
But they didn't make it a good guy, bad guy. I hated Larry Bird because I was a Lakers fan. I'm a big Magic fan. Right? But I didn't try to pit him against, it's like we love that rivalry.
Yeah.
Right? And if you were a Celtic fan, you hated Magic, not because he's black, because he wore purple and gold.
Right. Yep.
It's a rivalry. I've got a good friend who works for the Chicago Sky, and he's a practice player.
He's good people.
And he's a great guy. And I've talked to him. He's like, listen, I got to tell you this. He says, Angel Reese is one of the best basketball players I've met, period.
Right.
Men or women.
She go who?
Walking
He's like, she is so skilled. It's crazy.
It doesn't write down.
And everybody's trying to now pit them against it now. So Caitlin Clark, the big uproar is, she's not on the Olympic team. Okay, people, she's not a rapist, so she has every right to be on the Olympic team. I'll go with that, right? She didn't try out. The United States Olympic team has been playing for the last 2.5 years together. They've had them. When they get out of college, they allow you to try out. She didn't try out, right? Everybody's trying to pit against now and say, Taurasi is yes, this is her 6th Olympic or whatever. I don't know. She's a heck of a player.
She's a killer. She's cold-blooded. Guard Taurasi. Tell me she don't belong there.
Right. Thanks for tuning in, right? But we've got this big argument on, Caitlin, no. What are you talking about? She didn't try out. You can't just make it.
But, okay, so remember I was talking about, like, when we're very critical over here, when we justify over here. If we came on the show and it's like, well, Pierre didn't get into U of I, but he didn't apply.
Right. Right.
It's a hate crime. You're like, no, it's not about the color of your skin. You didn't apply for this, so you can't.
You actually applied at Illinois State.
Man, Chicago.
Right.
Mad, bro.
Right. So we're crazy about this here in America. And nothing says I'm an American more than pulling my sponsorship because Caitlin Clark's not on it too. I can't get my way, so I'm going to pull my sponsorship from the Olympics.
Yeah. What?
Oh yeah, they're like 600 million in sponsorships, big corporations, because they wanted Kaylee Clark on the team, and so they pulled their sponsorship money. There's literally, and I snoped this and researched this is true. Companies, big major companies, have pulled out sponsorship for the women's basketball team because Caitlin's not on it. Nothing says, "Hey, I'm proud of my country more than I can't get my way. I'm taking my money and going home."
There you go. Every time.
And
America.
I'm told that we cry and play victim.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous, bro.
Right? So we're fighting about why this probably, and she is probably right now, like Michael Jordan, she's probably the most recognized athlete in the world at this point, right?
She in there.
And I like that she's not on it. And you know what she said? It just burns a fire to get on the next.
They woke a monster. I love that she wrote a coach. They woke a monster.
Yep.
Get the drink next summer.
Yeah. But in the same breath, we're fighting about this, and we're trying to pit two individuals against each other who like each other and have played together on the same United States team, right? And across the pond, we've got a rapist. And we ain't worried about that. Nobody's screaming about that. Nobody's going to boycott because of that.
Hi, it's your black friend Phil.
I have more than one.
Don't let him lie to y'all. But because as a person who gets told a lot that we make things about race,
yeah,
I didn't create the rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark.
No.
So
the best was,
how are we making everything about race?
Right. The best was, did you see that foul where Reese went from behind to block the shot, and she missed the ball by an inch or two, and with her follow through, caught Clark in the head.
Yep. Right.
Turned it now to me. Now I coach women's basketball. To me, not flagrant. There was a play on the ball.
Yeah.
Okay. The refs had to review it, and they called it a flagrant. That's like Rodman, right? It's because of the narrative on Angel. Look, and I was on a couple of streams and whatnot, talking to people. I'm like, listen, look at her eyes. Her eyes are on the ball.
Nothing else.
If it was a flagrant, she would have looked right at her.
Right. We're not looking anywhere else. You're on the floor.
So, and she didn't miss that ball by much.
Right.
But she was coming from behind. Good way to block a shot.
Yeah.
And her follow through just happened to catch her on the head.
And I'm saying this because I've seen one, first and foremost, I like Caitlin, so I'm not saying any bad thing towards Caitlin.
And Caitlin, thanks for listening.
Right. But as far as that goes, who has more of a history of cheap shotting? It's not Angel.
Angel's just a banger.
Angel will foul you if she's going to foul. But as far as cheap shot with like intentional
there's a lot.
It's not Angel.
Yeah, okay.
But which one has that picture painted? The Angel is the bad guy. Wow, you heathens are horrible.
And that's why I say, had I known a little bit, what I would have liked to see is, because we can Google it. You all go out, you do your research, you're going to find that there were other rapists who, their country were like,
nah.
Sorry, Billy. No can do, right?
Right.
And I would have loved to see, ethnicity where that played in, right? Were the people who were the people who
Ooh, right,
who said sorry, Billy. It wasn't Billy Bob, but it was
right,
Billy D. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. You know what I'm saying.
I get you. I don't I don't know if we would be surprised by those results, though.
But here's my frustration as we talk about the bridge and building the bridge, doing what's right. What country is it the United States to go, we're not racing in that race? because it's a rapist.
Right.
We're going to boycott. We will not be there. And why aren't there 40 countries right now in that event doing that?
Yeah.
Saying, you know what, this is wrong, right? We're going to boycott because of that. I mean, the Olympics have been boycotted because of political things all the time by countries.
Yeah.
Why? Who's not saying, you know what, we are not going to be in the same parade as that rapist, convicted rapist, right? There could be others there that we don't know about or whatever, but I'm just saying is, hey, Netherlands, you either send that man back to prison and not have him show up for this parade waving your flag, or you know what, we
don't do that though.
who on the Netherlands team?
Well, nowadays, it's more business over dignity.
Yeah. You're a dad of a beautiful Dutch young lady who's going to be swimming, right? She's trained her. She's 17. She's trained her whole life, and she can cut through that water like a dolphin. And you're like,
Awesome.
oh, you're gonna be on the same plane as who?
Right. Sit next to where?
What?
Nah.
Hey, Netherlands, my daughter who can cut through water like a dolphin, she's gonna stay home. Because, hey, where's that noise? Let's not even go to a different country. Netherlands, where's that noise? Now, again, we're going back to saying that, hey, they are changing their laws. So obviously, the treatment of women and young women in that country, not good.
Right.
If that's fair to say. Again, I've never been there, never been out of America, so I can't tell you. Right? So so maybe they're all like, okay.
Okay. But if I'm sitting on an Olympic committee, right?
Yeah.
And I know what we did to Sha'Carri Richards 2-3 years ago.
As a committee.
As a committee. I know what we decided on, I know what we said was morally wrong. I know how we attacked it. I know what the media did. I remember.
Yes.
And I sit on that committee. It's me, you, Pierre, Drew. And then we have this come to our table. None of y'all said, remember that thing we did 2-3 years ago? Where we said morally this was not right? We're all okay looking past this.
Morally, we can't let Susan run for Kenya because she's got too much testosterone. No, she's not on drugs.
You like Jonathan Majors had Marvel stripped from him from being accused.
Yeah.
And then later found out the lady was just making it up.
Right.
And he ran. He was getting away.
Right.
This dude is convicted.
Yep. Did time.
Did time. Served.
A little bit.
Well, you call it that.
Right.
365. Man.
He did a quarter of the sentence.
A quarter. Now, okay.
Just touching.
Now here's the part, because expression. I'm not trying to bring that part in. There are people, and I'm not pushing either way, who vote a certain way because they want certain people to get the highest conviction for crimes that are not child rape. And they'll push for people to get the highest conviction for crimes that are not child rape.
Well, no.
And we will look the other way when people who do child rape get a quarter of the time they are sentenced. So if I sell Pierre weed, I should get the highest conviction.
Yeah.
If Billy touches your 12-year-old daughter, he's going to serve 1/4 the time. I should do 90% of my time. He should do a quarter.
Yeah.
And people will get polarized and pulled, seeing that I get the full sentence and skipping that they get a quarter.
Yeah, and again, I'm not. Netherlands is the Netherlands, right?
We do that here.
I understand. We're here that does happen, and yeah, you got to ask yourself. That's what I'm saying is you build a bridge, you can't pick and choose which car drives it. Oh, don't like that red car. You can't go across. You're gonna when we build a bridge, when there's a playing field, especially with the Olympics, we're trying to level the playing field so that it's the world's best athletes. Okay, and yeah, now what? How is that level? Now, here's the other thing. Here in the United States, the government just passed that it's now like a type 3 drug or something, right? There's the other thing. Marijuana is now, it's not a felony, and they're passing a law to say that it's a type 3 drug like Advil or something, right? And so are we letting everybody out that's sitting in there?
Because apparently we can shorten up time whenever we want to.
Yeah.
Are we unchecking that box now for the rest of your time that you're trying to file?
Correct.
Or get a job?
Correct. And does that follow you, right? I mean, here in America, you touch
one step at a time.
Yeah.
Right. Putting the cart before the horse.
But, here in America, that follows you, right? You have to register. You have to say, hey, you know what? I'd love to pick you up from school. Can't be around the school.
Can't be around the school. But can we paint that picture? Let's keep going with that.
Yeah.
If I sold him any amount of marijuana that led to my conviction,
correct,
then let's say that happened when I was 15, 16 years old. For the rest of my life, I have to check that box.
Yeah.
And I'm not allowed to get certain jobs that allow me to take care of my family or build my name up or whatever the case may be. I couldn't. You could. I could not. Look. I could be born in.
There's obviously not that question on the application. Because run for president? No.
If you're born in an American island, they'll convict you. So I But for the little bit of weed that's probably less than what people buy from the dispensary here in Crystal Lake or Woodstock, whatever.
They're all over.
But for that, think about that same amount that Tom or Sandy or whoever buys on a weekly basis that they don't feel like fillings for. I spent 10 years or whatever, and I have to check a box for the rest of my life. Meanwhile, this dude is back to business for raping.
You didn't even have any on you. It was just a pipe with some resin in it.
With resin in it, but they let probable cause. We did this. We convicted with possession, and now you're going to serve 7 years, whatever. For the thing that you said is Advil. Imagine you get pulled over on the way home, and you have 10 Advil in your car.
In your purse.
You don't feel like Tupac.
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul. Good life. You're not. I don't think you're doing that. I don't see Kent rolling out the window to California Love with his Advil. Like, no. This dude, people have, like, not one or two. Thousands of people have to check that box and are looked at like they took a life for what is now a legal drug. And I'm not pushing either way. I'm just saying this is what there's people say, well, they broke the law. So did this guy. this guy who raped a child, he broke the law too, and is serving less time than people who sold Advil.
I just, as a dad, especially #girls dad, right? It's infuriating, right? It's infuriating that, and we're not going to mention it. Now, the guy might be slow and he takes last in the race or whatever the hell he does. I don't know. But I will guarantee you that Bob Costas isn't doing hey, let's bring in Barry. Barry, tell us about the time you spent in jail for 1 year for raping a 12-year-old. And exactly what were the circumstances? Well, she asked for it. You know what I mean? Well, how does it go? But it won't. Right. We're not gonna bring it up, right?
Yeah.
We're not.
So like even right now, there are people who are like, Michael Vick needs his Hall of Fame stuff revoked or whatever. When that happened, cool. Brock Turner now goes by Alan Turner.
Right.
You don't really hear people saying that he shouldn't be allowed to work or he shouldn't be allowed to blah, blah. That's not that same pursuit after the fact for certain people like there are for other people.
Right.
Why is that?
Well, because we build bridges of convenience, right? And the hardest thing to do is build a bridge of non-convenience and say, listen, we're trying to span this gap, right? and throughout history, it's easier. Again, you've got my sponsorship money because of convenience. So
Right.
I'll pay for the bridge, but you're going to have to pay somebody at that bridge to not let the red cars come across the bridge.
But they're paying that bridge so they can get a toll on that bridge.
Yes. Right.
600
Oh, hey, trust me. Hey, all them sponsors were like, she's the most recognized athlete in the world right now. Right?
Right.
And they're like, we
want a
gonna
piece
make
of that.
money.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, she not going? Ooh. You gotta send her. Now, again, these are people who don't understand the game, right? You and I understand the game. This is our life, right? We do this all the time. And it's like, no. Now, what's her name? Brink. She made the team. She's 6'6". She blew out her knee.
ACM, man. Prayers for
Right? God love her. That woman's got legs from here to the clouds, right? She's tall.
It's like the cloud controls.
But, again, that's a big. Caitlin Clark is not a big.
Right, true.
You build your team, and I got her. 6'6".
Yep.
There's some Chinese ladies who were that
7'3".
7-3.
Yeah.
I won the 7'3" this year. So aren't y'all glad the Brittany Garner's anyway?
Yeah, right. I mean, you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So when you take a look at that from my standpoint, I go, that's good. We don't need another guard.
Right.
We need another big.
Yep.
Right. And so, but the beauty of who Caitlin Clark is she gets it, right? She's like, look, no big deal. It would have been an honor,
Right?
But no big deal, right? Not a big deal. That just means I have to work harder. And you know what? I didn't really try out. So it would have been an honor if they would tap me on the shoulder and I would represent my country, but I didn't try out.
So how is it that the media keeps pushing a narrative that she is openly going the opposite of, right? Hey, you and Angel don't like each other. No, we're actually friends, and we've spoken up for each other on numerous occasions. She's a competitor, I'm a competitor. There's no bad blood. And they keep running with it. Oh, she's devastated that she made the Olympic team. Nope, I'm just going to get back in the gym and outwork the prod, and they will come monster, and I just know if I put the time in, but...
Well, yeah, here's the other thing I love, too, is like, oh, Angel finally beats Caitlin in WNBA. I'm like, Angel's got a ring.
Forget about
forget about that. She got something that Caitlin ain't never got.
So,
and that's an NCAA championship.
But, like, it's not like...
And we blew that up because she's like, hey, baby, I got you.
It's not a Charles Barkley championship. This is the second time they've played each other or something like that. Like, this isn't like... Yeah. But it's not like for decades, this person I've never had a victory. This is not the Cleveland Browns. Like, this is...
Hey, listen, so Larry Bird, we're going to go back to 1980. Larry Bird, Rookie of the Year. Magic Johnson wins the NBA championship.
Who lost?
Who lost? Then nobody, right? But if you go back and tell Bird, he's pissed.
yeah.
Because he's like, man, I was the Rookie of the Year. We should have won. We should have gone all. That was ours.
Yeah.
And we did good, right? But Magic goes, I should have been fucking Rookie of the Year. I mean, right?
Yeah.
That's what they are saying. And nobody lost.
Both smiling.
Both smiling, right? With one of the most epic, Magic jump center. He had 45 in the final game, right? Triple double. It was amazing, right?
Beautiful.
Right? So that's what you have when you have a rivalry. We shouldn't hate each other. I put a post out there. I'm like, why can't we let So I've got Cardoso, I've got Reese, I've got Clark, and Plum or whatever. Right? I don't know who the other one was. I'm like, why can't we just like them all?
Yeah.
Right? Hey, you're not a Sky fan. I wasn't a. I go back now and I watch Larry Bird through all those years. I'm like, how did I hate this guy? He was amazing, Larry Legend. Right?
Yeah.
It was stupid how good he was, but I couldn't see it because I was a Lakers fan.
Shoot your lights out.
Oh,
Pass fake, put it on your back.
And everything about his game should work. But he's a legend, right? Everything about his game should work. He's a legend. And I couldn't see that greatness because I was a Lakers fan. I just hated it. If you wore green and white, I hated you. Right? I would argue with you. But in the 80s, it was the Lakers and the Celtics. Lakers and Celtics, Sixers once, when we're building bridges, the issue is a lot of people can't see the other side of where we're building that bridge to.
Right.
Or the reason, why do you want to put that bridge here? Right? And I think, Proverbs, says, lean not on your own understanding. And I think that's what we try too much to do is make it make sense to me. And if it doesn't make sense to me, it shouldn't make sense to you. And so I'm not going to fund this bridge. I'm not going to build it. We're going to, you know what? You build that bridge, Phil. I'm going to go a mile down the road and build mine. And I'm only going to let certain cars across this bridge. And we'll see. Right? Or I don't even see where you're building. Wait, I can't see the other side. How do you, I can't see that part, Phil. This doesn't make sense.
And with that, like, I feel that we're doing a lot of, okay, for instance, you have daughters. I have a son, right? And let's say,
I have a son too,
but Spencer is cool. That's my guy. But let's say just from the daughter's perspective, right? That you are adamant about laws that protect daughters.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, Phil, you should be on board for laws to protect any child.
Yeah.
Because when you have one, you're going to want your child protected too.
Yeah.
A lot of times we've said this on the show, where we're making the case is not just because it's for Brown, but I'm telling you, because when it hits your backyard, you're going to want the same fairness. You're going to want the same convictions going the other direction. You're going to want the same honesty and transparency. And they're saying because it's not me specific.
Right. Well, let's take a look at the victim's family. I can't watch or be proud of my country on the Olympics. And let everybody, the Olympics feel good, right? You watch. I don't know anything about archery. You end up watching it, right? Because it's the Olympics, right? Like, hey, let's see what's on. It's like, something weird that's out there. You're like, you're throwing hammers, right? You're like, why am I watching hammer throwing?
But it's
the Olympics.
Yeah, so you're going to watch it.
So now I can't, because when I look at you, at this Olympic team, and I see the individual who raped my daughter.
Mm-hmm. Ready for this?
Right?
Ready for this?
Mm-hmm. So, good friend of mine when we were young, Darby, got hit. He got hit by a train coming on his driver's door. And to this day, this was back in 88, 87, 88. To this day, if you talk to him, making a left-hand turns, you know what I mean? Yeah. Going out against it, it's hard for him, right? So okay?
Right. Yeah.
So in our life, it doesn't matter. You build up a wall to go, I don't want this tragic thing to happen again.
Right.
No matter what it may be. You might have been sexually harassed at a job by a CEO or something like that. Now, my next job that I take, I don't care who that CEO is. I've got a wall and I watch.
Right.
I can't be something's been taken away.
Yeah.
Right?
You move different.
Right? You get pulled over, 6 squad cars, and you've got 12 guns pointed at you because you rolled through a stop sign. No longer do those red and blue lights give me comfort.
Thank God they're here.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. So now we've got this individual. I've got to tell my kids now. Yeah, the Olympics, get it out of your mind.
But
I don't want you to go there because there's rapists out.
But you're going to see the Olympics. All the time. The Winter Olympics still probably triggers you. Yeah. Even though it's not necessarily the Summer Olympics where you're that person.
Just the symbol and the whatever.
So then my question is, the parents of the child who had to go through that, right?
Yeah.
and probably went to someone and said, you guys are going to let him
Yeah.
compete? That's horrible. Do you know what we went through and experienced? Blah, blah, blah. Hypothetically, when they hear their nation's anthem, you think they're standing?
Well, right, and they may have moved out of the country. I mean, we don't know. We don't know who
No,
but you're right.
Go with it.
They're going to cringe.
They're going to, but do you think they're?
That's hard.
But it would be understood
Mm-hmm.
why they may not be proudly standing for that anthem.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
In that situation.
Gotcha. And that's why I say is we all carry what we've been hurt, right?
Right.
We build walls to try to protect ourselves. It's what our brain does, right? I touched the stove and it was hot. My brain says, "Don't do that again, dummy." Right? Don't fall for that. Right?
Fool me once.
Yeah. Once bitten, twice shy.
Right.
And that's what it is. And it doesn't matter what we do. Here, as we build bridges, is what we do on the bridge is, I think too many times we want people to understand you don't know what somebody's going through.
Right.
You don't know the tragedy. You don't know the trauma. You don't know whatever. Right? For the rest of this young woman's life, she can't trust. Or she's got to work through it or whatever. Right?
Right. That's what she's
right, and that's all. And sometimes we focus too much on the villain, than we do on oh. So now let's understand this. We know about this. Every woman who has been mistreated, sexually harassed, sexually abused, raped, can't enjoy even the word Olympics, perhaps now. Why? Because there's a rapist, right? We're not the only ones who know about this. One thing that the country is allowing it, another that the Olympic Committee has gone, yeah, it's fine. How does that work? Is it
selective?
And I don't know the gentleman, right?
Because it was one thing for Brooklyn to not fire Kyrie. Then the whole committee said, well, before he comes back, he has to blah, 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 because we don't want what he represents diluting the entire NBA.
Yeah.
How is it that this person, if the country says so, why couldn't the Olympic Committee say, listen, y'all might be cool with that over there because that's y'all's rules, but as far as everything that we're doing, he can't compete. We have to treat him like we did the person who had a legalized plant in her system.
Follow the money, though, right? Who knows? Maybe his dad owns the Netherlands cookie factory or something, and they pay millions of dollars to the Olympic Committee, or you know what I mean? There's something. There might be more of the story that we don't know, and shame on them if there is.
Right. Okay. So let's go with that. So pending that his father owns the Dutch cookie company, right? And
grandfather, whatever. Yeah.
And he only served 1/4 of his time. Imagine how frustrated you would be as a minority in that country and hearing, well, less of us are imprisoned than you guys. Because you get 1/4 of your sentences for child rape. And if I have a plant, I'm going to get full conviction for years. So every year that I'm in there doing the full time for the plant, and you're free after child rape, you're saying there's less of us?
Obviously, I'm guessing it was the lowest security, probably a health club or something, right? I'm not thinking that he, was doing hard time.
No,
like some of our prisons or some of the toughest prisons around the world, because that doesn't take well. Yeah. At least in what I understand of the American prison system.
You have a different look on rape after that.
Yeah. Right.
Ain't so fun.
Oh, you had a 12-year-old growing up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. 2 boxes of cigarettes.
Right. So I think in a grand scheme of things, I hope that you as viewers, you as followers of the bridge, you as people who are out there, walk a mile in the girls' shoes this Olympics. Right. and I think as we're building bridges, you know, I think we have to understand who we're building for and what we're building. Right. Even though there might be a bridge, you might get halfway across that bridge, and it ain't finished. Right. And then it's not good. But you know, if more people would understand, not push things under the rug, if more people would say, what's the collective good here?
Right.
What kind of bridge do we need? And we need a bridge that every car can go across, especially in a world event like this, to say, I get that it's not bad in your country, but it's bad in these other 75.
Man.
And if you're going to run in this because of, our team is not going to take part in the 4x100 or whatever reason.
Whatever that is.
Right?
And
not just one country. Those 75 should
those 75
really have it, but we're not speaking up on it.
And I think that when situations like Sha'Carri happen, then I could say confidently, then she shouldn't compete.
Right.
If we're doing the bridge of right and wrong being fair, I'm all for that bridge. Cool. Hey, she broke the law. He sat out. I'm okay when she sits out. But what I'm not okay with is she sat out and he's running. That's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Right. And you know, that's why I say is, you know, lean not on your own understanding. Right. So in other words, get out of your own way sometimes. And I don't understand it. Right. I just don't understand it. But I also haven't seen anything come out that other people don't understand it. I mean, there are people starting to say it, but you know what I mean? And when I say other people, I'm like Olympic Committee people.
Yeah. But I can't say the frustrating part. Like, I'm glad that this is happening, and it's probably why TikTok is in pursuit of being shut down. Why does this person have to do it and the news can't?
Correct.
Why can they make this a big deal? And she was
correct.
She was everywhere.
Yep.
Over that plant. Yeah. You don't hear anything. You hear people who've done their research and know saying, "Hey, this isn't cool, and you guys should be aware of this."
Yeah.
But as far as big stage national news, the same way she was over that plant, it's like Advil now.
Sure should be.
Sure
should be. Listen, I can talk about this forever. We got to run though. We're right on back end of this. This is good stuff. Your book is audiobook almost done?
Almost done. So Around the World God in 45 Minutes should be out probably within the month.
Hey. Awesome.
So finally.
As soon as it is, we'll get it up there as well. But hey, good stuff this morning, guys. Pierre, always good to see you. Welcome back to the land of Lincoln. You know, I can see the excitement. But listen, we still stand firm. It's better to build a bridge, right, than blow bridges up or not even use somebody's bridge. But take time to take a look. If you do your own research on what we're talking about, and if you have more information on it, send it to info@216thenet.com. We'd gladly look into it and help out and bring it up. But good to see you guys. For all of us here at 216 Creator Studios, can't thank you enough for being part of the bridge with Kelly Vance, played by Peter today, and Phil Wallace.
Love you guys.